All right,
All
then.
right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's get it underway. Beyond the Rift, episode number 85, starring the one and only. I'm a cutie pie, your host with the most, dude. Everyone's favorite, the lovable. Joining me today, Skara. Skara, who are you?
I'm the co-host. I've been with Cutie, on a team with Cutie. Now I just stream. That's just it, guys.
And you're wondering who this man, all dressed up, all nice and fancy for this is? Hashinshin, give him a quick rundown. Who's the Hashinator?
Okay, well, I actually have an intro written down that I've been trying to practice.
I like that.
So,
Dude, this guy right here.
Okay.
Yeah, I got multiple pages of stuff written down here. So let me try to get through this, okay? And I'm going to screw it up multiple times, but
Hey,
let me do my
take your
best
time,
here.
dude. We got plenty of time here.
Okay, so this is going to try to be an introduction for what I'm going to do here, okay? So I'm here representing not Hashinshin, but Hashinshin is representing top lane, and I just happen to be Hashinshin, okay? So my name is Hashinshin, and I play top, okay? Let me give you an introduction for what's been happening lately with me and with top lane. Okay, top lane is then the most top lane is the most divided lane amongst one tricks of any lane in League of Legends. If there's a champion, somebody is one tricking it top lane. Janna, Sona, Nami, it doesn't matter. Somebody is one tricking it top lane. And unfortunately, speaking from a historical perspective, that's made our lane very weak to negative changes coming from Riot because we all hate each other because we all try to murder each other every day, all right? And the problem with that is changes that are bad for the game. If an AD carry item gets nerfed, all the AD carry mains come out and they say, no, fuck that. You can't nerf AD carry items. If something happens top lane to nerf top lane as a whole, we all say, aha, well, that's going to hurt them just as much as it hurts me. So go ahead, Riot, and do it. And that has historically made us very nerfed and bad, okay? Whenever a champion gets sent
Hashinshin!
Yeah, what up?
Is this an introduction? We're introducing Hashinshin. Is that
I'm doing an introduction. I got a lot written.
Is that your introduction? Is this how you want to be introduced as?
Can I make a... I don't understand your channel, but can I make, like, maybe a light Holocaust joke?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so every time top laners are sent to the camps of the jungle, we all laugh at each other, and we get divided, and we keep letting it happen.
I mean, you got a point there. We're gonna get into the top lane stuff, Hashinshin. But let's just Hashinshin. He's a top laner. He's here to represent the minority because no one plays that shit ass role.
Look. I think people just see an angry man from Chicago, and they roll up their windows because they're afraid of me. Okay? And let me tell you that we're right. You know, we have been mistreated for a very long time, and somebody does need to say something about it eventually.
And that's his introduction. And that's who he is. He's joining us here today. But before we get into the topics of top lane, I want to get into the topic of Discord live question and answer on the end of the show. I know you people got questions for Hashinshin. I know there's a whole lot of wonderful questions you're gonna ask him. Feel free to ask him on the Discord, dude. We'll give him an answer if they're not too fucking stupid. That's it. Let's go into the topics now. Topic number one, because on this show we make the topics, Hashinshin. You don't make the top. You don't choose what we talk about. We choose what we talk about.
I got enough written. I can respond to anything you command.
All right.
Anything.
Then let's get it started. You talked a lot about top lane recently. Give me the major problems and quick, concise points for top lane.
Okay. I'm actually going to give you the best example of what upsets top laners the most and why I think people don't understand a lot of the anger coming out of our group, really, our lane. Okay? Let me give you an example. Was it last week you had the two riders on, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you said, I'm not trying to call you out here. I'm just trying to explain something.
No, feel free.
You said Hashinshin's just mad because top laners don't have a keystone, right? Bruisers don't have a keystone. And the two ride devs kind of like laughed at it like, oh, yeah, that's kind of right. He doesn't have a keystone. Well, look at it from our perspective. Like, they've slated the Keystone's coming in 8.6, and they're joking about it. Like, you won't have a Keystone for 5 months, and that's funny to us. And top laners are just sitting here like, the fuck?
Hashinshin, now let me ask you. I've seen a lot of top laners running Aftershock. I see Camille's running Aftershock. I see Kled's running Aftershock. What's the why isn't that a top lane Keystone?
Because it doesn't let you kill people. It just shuts down killing people.
But the thing is, for me personally, when I think of Camille, I think of like a tank. So I feel like Aftershock fits her kit pretty well. What's your argument on that?
That sounds wrong.
What? Okay, let me when I think of top laners...
You think of Camille, so you think of a tank?
I think of Trinity Force, and I think of Titanic Hydra.
Well, nobody builds Titanic Hydra.
Hey, rank 1... I saw in your video you were complaining about Tony top 2. You weren't complaining, but you were like, how the hell is this guy rank 1 right now? Trinity Force, Titanic Hydra. You don't think that shit's busted?
Well, no, because his Jax win rate is actually below his average win rate. He wins with other champions.
I mean, dude, every time I see him, he wins with Jax. Let me ask you that. Do you think that Trinity Titanic's like the savior for top lane or no?
Well, no, I think most people are going Trinity Starax with a Revenous Hydra. Not on Jax in particular, but on Jax, you go Trinity, you go Tiamat, and then you just go into tank items. You actually just skip the bruiser items. They're not.
Okay. I'm curious. So you say all top laners want to kill other people. So
Yeah.
are you speaking from a perspective of like every top laner just wants to be a fighter? Like they want to be the guy who comes in and like beats you up with the fists or with the weapons. And like
I would say the dream for top lane, like other lanes, when you play mid, right? You want to win the game, right?
I think I want to win the game regardless when I play, but yes.
Okay, so if you're playing top lane, I figure winning the game is kind of your secondary concern. Killing the shit out of your lane opponent, like that's your primary concern.
Well, let me ask you.
Everything you do in life as a top laner is you go into lane level 1 and you look across the lane and you see that guy and you want to kill him more than anything you've ever wanted in your life.
But you say you're speaking for all of top. What about the Malphites? What about the Maokais?
Mm-hmm.
Well, those are kind of like, I mean, even if you're playing them, you're trying to kill people. I mean, they're just kind of
What if they want to just live in harmony, farm it out, and just go for late game?
Well, then you're probably autofilled.
Okay, all right,
I can respect that. Then I mean, you think that you have to? Because I know when I play AD, I want to fucking kill everyone. Like, obviously, I want to just go fucking.
Okay, well, let me ask you this question. Do you think a Tryndamere player is picking Tryndamere because he's like, my macro and team fighting play will get us to success? Or do you think he's playing Tryndamere because he's going to dive you and kill you with his ultimate?
When I see Fogged for the win, the first thing that comes to mind, I'm like, this man wants to out macro the enemy team. He wants to split push and manipulate the flaws in their movement. He wants to just like try to weave his way into tower push. You don't think so?
No, I think Fogg's like dream. Like, his sexual desire
is to hit
someone with the W slow when he's still got his spinning slash up so they can't flash away. And he gets locked in them, and he knows that he's got a Phantom Dancer, and he's passive, and he's going to beat the shit out of them until they're dead.
Let me ask you.
That is his dream.
Let me ask you.
Everything he does in life is to get to that moment.
He's been running Demolish recently. I say his dream is to destroy turrets.
No, I would say right now what he's doing is he realizes he can't have his dream, so he's settling for a job as a janitor. That's what he is. He's settling for the janitorial work.
Hey, someone's got to destroy the towers. Dude, if you're saying that's janitorial work, what do you call ADs, dude? Like, my job's to destroy the turret.
Well, the only reason you try to kill a turret is you hope that their top laner is going to come to save the turret, so then you can kill them as they save the turret.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't think that's my thought process when I'm going for the tower, but all right. So you say,
well, I mean, you're an AD main.
Yeah, maybe my thought process is I'm just a fucking.
Wait, okay. We've deviated quite a bit, so like before we get too off track, let's just try to focus on what are the main top lane problems. So
okay, the main top lane problem. Well, I got it.
Go for it.
I got it written right here. Okay.
Yeah, just let it rip, dude.
So number one, counterpicking is too prevalent. Now, let me explain that for a second. Counterpicking, especially in the top lane right now, if you counterpick, say, a melee bruiser as Jace, you know, I can't fight in this laning phase. You know Jace is going to beat you, right? That shuts down your ability to kill your opponent, which, again, is the most important thing. So I basically have like everything I enjoy about the game has now been removed because they counterpicked me.
I mean, to be fair, there's counterpicks in other lanes, too.
Really not as bad as they are in top lane. Like,
I will say, Jace is pretty fucking stupid if you are like a melee like you're just gonna get your ass beat down by him. So I'll give you that one. Give me another. All right. Give me another problem.
All right. Jungle ganks way too much. Now let me explain that one. Since season, was it 4 that they started to really meddle with the jungle a lot?
Like 3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah. They have increased the spawns, like the time it takes to respawn a camp has gone up considerably. That means that you can smite camps to clear them much quicker. And you'll notice that, you know, if you go to high or low, very frequently junglers will start taking the ward smite, clearing the jungle with the smite, hitting, you know, your level 4, 5, 3, and then they just go to gank with the entire rest of the time. Now, who do they go to gank? 90% of the time, it's a top laner. And why are they ganking the top laner? Because he's trying to kill his opponent is overextended.
Whoa. Okay, so we just came from a meta, the Ardent meta, where no one ganked top. All the junglers just went to gank bottom. Because it was my mind where if you kill bot lane and get the slow balls, bot lane was so strong that they would just win the game for you. So what about playing top lane in that meta?
I think that even in a meta where you won the game by getting your bot lane ahead, junglers still said, fuck that, I'm a gank top lane. You would lose a game, and the jungler would say, just so long as I piss that top laner off just that little bit, I'm okay with it.
Now, but you win the game, so that's fine, right?
No, winning is... No. You have to remember, your top lane, your number one issue, killing your opponent. Number 2 is winning.
Okay.
I will throw in that I think that I don't think every top laner's number one thing is killing the opponent. I feel like some top laners
Look, any top laner. Look at it this way. Look at it this way. Okay, look at all the top laners I know. I know Boxer Pete. I know Dakar. I know Weekend. I know all these people. Right? I mean, I had them in my videos. You know, people are actually surprised. Like, it's actually very easy, you know, to go because, you know, we're not like, you know, good chums, but it's very easy to go to a top laner and be like, hey, does top lane suck? They'll be like, yeah. Want to make a video about it? Yeah. And the one thing in common with all these people is, generally speaking, they're very upset that you just can't kill your opponent right now.
Okay, so my question is, that's true for a lot of the lanes too. Like mid lane, the amount of 1v1 kills you can get right now is very hard. Like very, very, very hard.
I made that comment 3 months ago. I said, look, all they did to beat SKT was they picked Malzahar, perma pushed the lane, and Faker got shut out of his ability to contribute. And I got ridiculed for that nonstop. Now Malzahar has been nerfed 1, 2 times. Okay?
Okay.
So, I mean, you got a point. I will say, too, that I feel like... Hey, Scar, you disappeared, but I feel like...
You did disappear.
I'm so sorry.
Hey, don't sweat it. I think top lane has more issues that... I mean... Just get through all your issues with top. Let's get through all the issues, and then we'll go through each and every one of them.
Okay, so there are 3, I want to say 3 broken champions right now who poke at you from range with a general inability to die, who just kind of, like when you see these 3 champions get picked, and when I say them, all the top laners are just they're just gonna groan, okay? Vladimir, Gangplank, and Gnar. If you pick one of those 3 champions, it's just, even Jace, you can kind of go Aftershock and in the right situation trade into with Camille. But Vladimir, Gangplank, and Gnar, okay, you're just done. It's just, that's it for top lane. It's over.
I'll say, I think Vlad's pretty stupid. I think GP is pretty stupid. I don't know how I feel about Gnar. I don't feel like if...
There's a reason Frozen Mallet is getting literally halved on ranged champions on the PBE.
I don't feel like if they have those champions, though, it's an auto loss. I want to say, I feel like top lane's the least important fucking role in the game. I don't know if that's like one of your major problems with it too, but...
That's not even... Look, let me put it this way. I rate being able to trade with my opponent and kill him so highly that top lane being irrelevant is like a secondary concern of mine.
Okay, so if top lane is the worst role in the game, but you're able to kill your opposing player, you don't care. That's great for you.
I mean, at that point, I start caring about it being irrelevant, but I would say, hey, at least I get to have fun for 10 minutes. At this point, I think the laning phase is 10 minutes.
Okay.
I'll say, though, is that all your major problems with top lane?
No, I'm at like 3 of 15.
3 of 15. Dude, rapid fire, Hashinshin. Just fire him off right now.
Yeah. Okay. Bruiser items, especially Titanic Hydra, are... I actually have a spreadsheet I could link you earlier. A Bruiser 4-item build is over... I think it's over 2,000 more gold than an AD carry. I think it's actually 1,800 or something like that. It's wildly more expensive, and it makes no sense to me because you pop off... You got an AD carry, right? You go Infinity Edge, which is 300 less gold than Trinity, right? Then you have a 2,600 item, a second 2,600 item. My items are 3,500 for a Titanic and a 3,200 for a Sterix Gauge. So, not only does your class outscale me, but I basically have to kill you repeatedly just to keep the item disparity from growing.
I mean, do you not feel like, though, that should an AD carry not outscale a Bruiser?
Look, it's not about outscaling. It's about the fact just to keep parity with you, I have to be killing you. Like just to not fall further back behind in item parity, I have to be killing you.
Well, to be fair, I feel like a 1v1, Irelia with Trinity Force, probably a lot stronger than Tristana with Infinity Edge. Do you not agree?
Well, that's true, but the thing is that, okay, let me put it this way. You can go BF Sword into a static shift, right?
Yeah, but that's still more gold than Trinity.
That's 200 more. Not even 200. That's 163 more gold than the Trinity.
Wow.
That's 100.
This guy with the math. Okay. All right, I'll give that to you. You think, though, that's like... I feel like the Irelia would just shit on me every time with that.
Well, look at it this way. If the Trinity power spike is the best part I can get out of the lane... And then I have to kill you, I have to kill you repeatedly to keep you from building the Infinity Edge, the rapid fire cannon. Because if I don't kill you repeatedly, my next item is 3,500 gold. My next item is 3,200 gold. You're 2,600, and then you're completing your Infinity, what would that be? 2,100?
But don't those items only give offensive stats for the AD carry? Sure, you're spending all your gold toward damage, whereas Trinity Sterix or Trinity Titanic, you're spending a lot toward not only being a great damage source, but also a great tanky source as well. So it's not directly comparable.
Well, that I don't actually agree with because Rapid Fire Cannon gives you get 10% movement speed off those two items to begin with. The second thing is Rapid Fire Cannon is giving you long range poke. You can't there's literally no other than maybe Camille who can do something about being shot by a Rapid Fire Cannon. And even then she's diving straight into the team. It's not going to work. And the second thing is Static Shiv is giving you wave clear. So the utility for my items is I have to run up like let's say we're in a 5v5 siege situation, right? By getting that Rapid Fire Cannon, by getting that Static Shiv, you can clear the entire minion wave with one auto. You can poke people under turret really well. I hit people kind of hard, and I'm also tanky enough that maybe I can live to do it.
Well, I feel like for me personally, I don't feel like Irelia is a champion that's charging headfirst into battle. She's more of a split push flanker type of champion. Do you feel like Irelia should be able to be just initiating the fight herself, or what?
Well, I think that's literally what her passive is there for.
I mean, I feel like her passive's there for after she gets a flank, she doesn't just get absolutely destroyed.
The reality is her passive is there as a placeholder for when they would give her a real passive at this point. But the passive was designed, at least in my knowledge, I think it was designed to let her dive the AD carry. Right? That would be season 2, but I'm 90% positive it was designed for exactly that reason.
Yeah, just to kill Cutie.
Okay. Him specifically.
I've done a lot of Irelia, so I can agree with that. I mean, give me what were you going to say, Scar?
I was saying, that's number 4, dude. We got 13. We got a long list to go, man.
Okay, top lane has had a lot of its impact taken by other roles. Now, what I mean by this is top lane used to have the gold, right? top lane had more gold than jungle, more gold than support, a lot more gold than both of them. And as the power of top lane was diluted down, you know, look at Aurelia, for example. Who was one of the scariest champions to start getting like a frozen heart on was Aurelia, because now she's got 20% cooldown reduction. She can hit you with that second E-stun much faster. Well, that power has been diluted when the support can also get cooldown reduction and the support can also stun you.
I can see it. I think that supports get way too much fucking gold for doing absolutely
Supports are
nothing.
clearly overpowered right now.
I wouldn't call them overpowered, but I definitely think they get too much gold for doing nothing. Scar, what do you think of that?
Okay. I don't want to spend 12 hours on this topic, so I'm just going to say I will admit the relative strength of the jungle and the support position have been increased, and even the AD position have been increased in the last couple of years. But I'll talk more about this later. We got a topic for this.
Okay, anti-tank options are too weak right now. The primary anti-tank options, at least in my opinion, were Rage Blade before they reworked it, because you just had so much sustained and so, you know, magic and physical damage coming out that they couldn't really counterbuild you easy. And the second one was Blade of the Ruined King. Blade of the Ruined King is almost only 80 carries. I don't think anyone builds it other than 80 carries. And Rage Blade, again, now only for 80 carries. There's not really a good option I can do to punch through a tank in a split push situation, or even in a team fight situation.
I mean, I guess that sounds fair.
I don't disagree. I think there should be more itemization choice. Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Oh, as another note, Black Cleaver is also... I mean, it's much weaker than Trinity. I think a lot of the Black Cleaver users have fallen out of favor because it's kind of a weak item right now, and a lot of them are moving on to Trinity. I think that's...
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Bruisers are forced to stack health, which is hard countered by everyone. You know, Ornn coming out with the 31% health damage. You got, you know, Varus coming out with the percent health damage. You got Vayne coming out with you got Kog'Maw. You got everyone building Blight. And I build 1, 2, 3 items in a row, which have health, no resist, health, no resist, health, no resist. It fucking hurts when Maokai hits you with 31% magic damage and you have no magic resist.
I can definitely agree. There's too much percentage health damage in this fucking game right now, but...
okay, I agree as well. Let's keep going.
Many of the former top laners that would be in top lane right now instead got pushed to jungle when Riot decided we don't like their trading patterns, so they're now a jungler. That would be Hecarim, that'd be Skarner, that'd be Udyr, that would be... what's the other one I'm thinking of? Shyvana. And now it's even Jax.
Well, to be fair, I feel like those champions stopped going top lane, because I feel like this goes back to what you said. Junglers get so much goddamn free gold that you don't really have to do anything. Like Shyvana's, you have to work the fucking lane to actually not get absolutely shit on, but you can just AFK in the jungle and do absolutely nothing and get all your items. So
my question is, are you opposed to Riot opening up more options for champions? So for instance, a couple patches ago, they allowed you to jungle with Morgana and Zyra. Like, are you opposed to that? Or do you... Yeah, I'm just curious.
Ka is another one. Kha'Zix.
Okay.
The problem is that when they do this, very frequently, it's followed by nerfing their base damage and buffing their damage against the jungle. They did that with Shyvana W. They did it with Kha'Zix W. Yeah.
Okay, so you only care if they nerf the champion, but only specifically buff them for the jungle.
Yeah, because they nerf them to get them out of top, then buff their damage against the jungle, and it's not opening them up, it's ripping them out of your hands and saying you can't play with that top lane.
I've had a couple of ADs ripped out of my
hands. I was going to say, like, you're talking to the man who lost Graves, you know? Like,
yeah. You can keep going, though. What's your next one?
Okay. Here's a really good point. Riot constantly learns, then relearns which champions are toxic for top lane. And they do this all the time. They push Jace. Jace beats every bruiser. They nerf him. A year later, they go, why'd we ever nerf that Jace guy? We should bring him back for top lane. And then he destroys top lane. And they nerf him. And a year later, they're like, why did we ever nerf that Jace guy? We should bring... And Think about the amount of champions they do that for. It's insane. They did that for Kenny. They did that for Heimer. They did that for Teemo. They did that for Jace. That's just off the top of my head. And every time they do it, I just sit here like, you haven't changed their trading patterns. You haven't changed how the champion interacts with top lane. All you've done is buff their numbers and said, go back at it. Kenny, go just fuck up some bruisers, man.
Well, to be fair, I feel like some champions would need like a complete rework to. Do you think? Oh, go ahead.
Let me actually, since Cutie Pie is talking, I have a specific note for you, Cutie Pie. Oh. Imagine if every single season they tried to bring back Mordekaiser AD carry.
I'd be down for it, dude. I'd love it. I'd be all for it, man. Dude, what's the problem with that? What's wrong with that? If they made it so bruisers and stuff could go bot lane, I'd be all over that shit, man. But.
I think you're talking to the wrong person. Kitty wants to be playing Darius bot lane. Kitty doesn't.
If you want to talk about shitty oppressive champ, I'm playing literally 3 fucking champions bot lane every game, dude. Don't talk to me about fucking having to play the same shit every fucking game. But you got it for your next topic.
Okay. This is. When I wrote this, I clearly wasn't thinking of future me, but I figured it out. Okay, so in Season 5, right at the end of Season 5, the big top lane update, right? The Juggernaut update, let's review all these various champions that have been cancer in top lane, right? So they did 4 of them. They did Darius, Garen, Skarner, and Mord. Of them, Garen said he's low ELO, so he can't be viable high. Okay. They said Mord is now an AD carry. Okay. They said Skarner is now a jungler. Okay. And so we got 1. We got Darius, who was promptly shit-canned with nerves. So the big top lane update that we were waiting for Season 2 was nothing. We got Titanic, I guess, which was then nerfed because Fiora built it, but then they nerfed Fiora anyway, so, neat.
Hey, Darius was good, though, for, a year or something. That's better than nothing, right?
It was literally better than nothing, yes.
You could say that for a lot of things, right? I'm literally opening up their update right here. The Assassin update. They're reverting 3 of them, right? They're reverting LeBlanc, Rengar, and another thing. All the other Assassins aren't playable except for Akali and Cat. Really?
Okay, well, let me ask you this question. Since Season 2, how many updates have mages gotten?
I think they've gotten quite a few, right?
It's been a few.
I think it's been 3. It was the Vel'Koz, whatever the fuck. Vel'Koz.
I think it's been 1 or I think it's been 2. I think it's been 2. Yeah.
Top lane since then has received 1 patch in Season 5 for 4 champions. One of which, with literally 1, could be played top lane, and then we received kind of a mini half-ass update in this December, and that's it.
Hey, how many?
That's 6 years.
Let me ask you, how much has AD got? How much has the AD carry role gotten in terms of that?
Well, you got 3 class item updates.
Yeah,
you stole
different zeal items.
You stole half my items.
I got different zeal items, dude. That's what they fucking gave me. They said, you know what? You're building static shiv every game. Now you can build static shiv and fucking rapid fire.
I'll take Rageblade back. I liked Rageblade.
Dude, you can have fucking Rageblade back if they give me back Graves and some other shit, man. But alright, let's go to the.
Okay. On. I just want to make one last point because we're at the end here. Okay. Yeah. Comet and Aerie aren't manly.
Manly?
You got a problem with the masculinity of the...
If I'm Olaf, and I'm a big fucking Viking bruiser, right? And I'm I'm Olaf. And then right next to him, you got, I'm Aerie, and I'm his assistant.
What's wrong with
that? That's not manly.
What's wrong with
that? That's lame.
Wait, what's wrong with a fairy princess following you around?
Yeah.
Do you have a problem with that?
Yeah, I have a problem when it's you play Camille and you're this scissor warrior who's going to jump on you and destroy you with her Q, and then she's shooting rinky-dink comments at you, Elaine.
What's wrong with
that? That's not exciting.
That's awesome, dude. You have a giant comic explode. Just the force of her thighs has a gravity field that can pull down fucking comets from the sky.
She brings a meteor from outer space every time she hits them with the dust.
Well, no, because it follows you on your shoulder. So it's clearly not from outer space.
Alright, fair enough. Maybe not from out there.
Yeah, I mean,
that's not okay. Let me put my point. It's not manly. When I play Olaf, my vision of Olaf is not to have magical fairy anime assistant on my shoulder helping me.
Okay, wait. This is a good top. So, if you're saying that top lane isn't the manly role,
top lane is the manly role.
Top lane is the manly role.
Yes.
What's the opposite of that? Like, what's the role that wants to
AD carry? 80 carry.
80 carry is that role? Okay,
I would agree with
look at 80 carry. So
that.
early game, they get handheld by the support, right? They're basically a child who gets lost at the mall, and the support has to baby them back to the car. Okay. Then mid game, the support needs to peel for them, and either the jungle or the top lane needs to peel for them. Because again, if they wander off alone, they're gonna get killed by a mage. Okay, so you still need to be babying through them through the mid game. Then finally you get to the late game, and then they wander off and get killed every time anyway. It's like every 2 seconds you're like, let me look at my 80 carry, and they're running down alone and Camille kills them, and you're like,
well, let me ask you, because you say they're running off alone, Camille kills them. You don't think that it's fair that Camille can just one-shot an AD carry like?
Well, I don't think it's fair that you can be shielded for 3 times your health over if I try to touch you.
Well, okay, so this is coming from an AD carry now. I feel like there needs to be some response to Camille hitting me with a Q that does 1,000 true damage. What's your response?
Well, that's power creep. I've always said, look, everyone always gets mad at me when I say, no, let's not do that because that will lead to power creep. The Ride's not just going to let, champions be bad. You add more % health damage, they're going to make tanks tankier, right? You add more damage on a bruiser, you're going to give shields more support. You give shields more support, you're going to add more damage to the bruiser. So and this is really a complaint for the game, is it's so team focused right now that if one player screws up, everything falls apart. If the support is bad at supporting, then you all die.
I can agree that the game's pretty fucking team focused right now.
Oh, okay. So your counterplay is not Cutie. Cutie's not the counterplay. The counterplay is the support.
Yes, the support counters a bruiser.
Oh, okay. So what would you? So if the AD carry is the role that wears like the toupee and like brings the comet, and like the top lane role is a role that like super manly, you're like hitting them with your fists. What do you see the other roles in the game as? What is the jungle role to you? I'm just curious.
A bitch.
That's what I've been fucking saying. Dude, this is why I love Hashinshin. I want top lane to go back to them playing Dr. Mendo, and they're just stuck farming the fucking top laners.
Is that what Hashinshin said? I'm going to speak
for Hashinshin, because I know what Hashinshin's thinking, dude. They clear the jungle way too goddamn fast. They get too much goddamn gold. It's just, like, you don't need to do fucking anything to jump. It's like, well, shit, I full cleared my jungle. Nothing spawning in a minute. Might as well go gank, dude. I got nothing else to fucking do.
Exactly. I've made that point so many times.
See, Hashinshin, I fucking get you, dude. Sky, alright, this is 2 versus 1 now. Sky, what do you think of this shit?
Well, I think that the added power of jungle and support have caused the balance of the game to go wonky. And the best example is this way. As a mid laner, I just talked about this. The jungler used to be afraid of me. Like, the jungler, if I found the jungler early, the jungler would have to run away because he was like, oh my god, I can't deal with him. But now, I have to be afraid of the jungler. So I can't roam the river early because if I find the jungler, he crushes me. And so, I think it's just a weird change of power that's caused everything to become stronger, and in those 2 roles, and all the 3 other roles to become weaker unless they're associated with those 2 roles. So I think both the mid and the top lane have relatively had power shrinks since then.
I mean, 2 points. I would agree with that. Like power in the game is kind of a zero-sum situation. Like, if you increase the power of one role, the other roles come back. And I guess a lot of people make the point, Shinshin, you're being greedy. In Season 2, the top laner and the AD carry were the strongest in the game, right? The mage had some strong points, but overall it was, and they say, well, since then, you just want to be the strongest role. And I say, well, it's not exactly that I want to be the strongest. It's just I feel I've been robbed of everything that I used to have. When the jungler came for the gank, I would look at myself and I would say, okay, how much damage has he taken from the jungle? Can I kill him first? Can I kill him before he kills me? But now everyone's at full life from the jungle. Everyone's got 3 minutes of not farming to just AFK on me. The gank routes are exceptionally good now, where I often feel like the only time you ward is when you have so much lane control that you literally can win 1v2.
Yeah, I can.
And
I definitely think, with Blast Plant, like, a lot of the junglers who maybe didn't have great routes to gank, like, everyone can just fucking gank you now. It doesn't fucking matter where you've warded. It's like, if someone wants to gank, they're gonna fucking gank you, dude. I can agree that they definitely have a lot better routing than they used to. I mean, so we got the topics underway. Scar, how do you want to do? You want to go through every topic, or you want to just go to the next topic? How are we gonna do this?
How do you want to do this?
Let's go to the next topic then, because we're only on the first topic. Hashinshin's introduced, so he's introduced into the viewer's mind. So this is for the viewers, dude. I want you guys open your mind, clear your mind. Whatever stupid shit you have in there, just forget it right now. We're going into the mind of top lane. So next topic.
Okay. We'll definitely come back to a lot of these points as we talk in the other topics.
Yeah, so next topic, how strong should counterpicking be to your role? So on what you said about counterpicks.
Okay, so I have a little bit here. Okay, so I said this earlier, counterpicking makes the laning phase feel like shit, because I feel more so than other lanes, when you get counterpicked in top lane, you'll lose the trade no matter what. Like, if I get counterpicked by Jace with a Jax, it doesn't matter how well I play, he wins the trade. It doesn't matter if he runs into me. It doesn't matter if he literally just starts walking up to me and hitting me with melee auto attacks, he'll win the trade. And it's like, the counterpicking, I feel, has really gotten to such an excessive thing where a lot of top laners, I'm going to say this right now, if you're in chat and you're a top laner, when your first pick, your first thought is, oh, fuck.
I can agree with that. When I fill top lane, I'm just begging people, please God, someone fucking swap me. Like, can I fucking pick for someone, please? I don't know how you got, like, Sky, how do you...
I think top lane is the worst lane to counterpick for. I completely agree with that. Mid lane, by contrast, is a shorter lane. It's less hard to counterpick in a shorter lane. That's just the nature of the game. Harder to punish in the shorter lane. And bot lane has two things, and it's very rare that you get both things counterpicked. So, completely agree with you. Top lane counterpick is a problem, but counterpicking has to exist, right? You can't blind pick every game. Like,
okay, I have a point for that.
Oh, okay.
Counterpicking is fine so long as you have an avenue towards victory. Look, it's okay if Jace counters Jax, but if Jace can literally walk into melee range and beat me, and there's just absolutely a 0% chance I can win, that's a problem. Look, if he can beat me in most trades, but I can use my abilities in an interesting way, then that's okay. But if there's just nothing you can do, which is so often, by the way, like if Teemo can beat a melee champion in melee, what options do you have? You know, he pokes you, he beats you in melee. So, and this goes to another point. It just feels like your only option is to outscale, which goes into 15 minutes of doing nothing. But that's a long time to do nothing.
Let me ask you then, is that not what top lane's an island, and in an island scenario, I'd imagine you'd always want to pick the lane bully. Now, I don't think I don't like that has to be the thing, because, I mean, I know for bot lane, you always want to pick a lane bully. I know for middle, you don't want to just pick something that just sucks in lane, right? You want to pick something that can win lane. Like, I feel like every lane needs to pick something that's lane dominant. What do you think of that? Do you think you should be able to just pick something that just sucks complete dick in lane and just... Like, what would you rather see for counter picks? Like, do you just want to get rid of all lane bullies?
It's not lane bullies I have a problem with. Like, back in the day, I dealt with Renekton day in, day out. But if Renekton did a bad trade, I could hurt him. If Teemo does a bad trade, does a bad trade as Teemo exist? Does a bad trade as Jace exist? Is there such a thing?
Well, to be fair, I feel like creep aggro. I feel like you're underplaying the creep aggro damage a little bit.
Yeah, I think for Ryan's done a good job of doing stuff that will help make lane bullies less important, right? They've increased the XP range of XP and this is done like 3 seasons ago, and recently they did the spell aggro change that makes champions like Pantheon and even like Teemo when he Qs you.
I think all those changes are power creep, and they just gave Riot an excuse to put out harder lane bullies. Because XP range was added, you can bully the lane harder. Because minions are worth less gold and you have more ambient gold, you can bully the lane harder. And because the minions now have levels and you can catch up, you can bully the lane harder. And it's really just giving them an excuse every step of the way where, hey, there, are these things, so, we'll give Jace 20 more damage at level 1. We'll give him lower mana cost because, hey, look, we've given you more XP range. And it hasn't helped the problem. It's actually made it harder because the response to it is to just make it worse.
Wait, but I've played, like, the game since all the way back then. I used to be able to get consistent 2-level leads if I was, like, and deny XP and all that kind of stuff, and that's mid lane. So that's it.
But that wasn't because of your champion pick. That was you outplaying your opponent.
I mean, yeah, and if I picked Zed into, like, Lux, I think that's, like, that was a little bit champion pick oriented.
Sky, you just fucking cut out.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, if I pick stuff like Zed into Lux, that's a little bit champion oriented as well.
Lux is a shitty champion, though.
I can agree with that. Yeah, but that's why I was saying is like you're always gonna want to pick the champion that can do the best in lane and then scale the best and all that bullshit. Like, I don't see how you could solve that unless you do big changes more than just top lane, more than just any lane. It's just you need to change how the game works. Do you not?
Wait, okay, so let's put it this way. What if you were the Teemo Jace player? I'm just curious. Is this something that you say because like you can't counterplay those type of trades? Because from what I see, like my counterplay to Jace in some situations, okay, what if you're playing Jax, he misses the EQ because he's trying to fish for it from out of range, and then you jump on him with Counter Strike available, and
wait, who misses the EQ?
The Jace. Isn't that somewhat reasonable? Like, isn't there are situations where you can outplay if you are the better player.
Well, if he misses EQ, he still outtrades you. Okay, so I leave strike, jump strike on Jace, right?
Right.
He goes melee form, Q, preps an E, slow, knockback. Now I've used my gap closer and my counter strike, and I'm out of melee range. Now he actually gets to chase us up because his abilities are on a lower cooldown, which gives him kill potential. Even if I stun him, the E is going to go off because he's prepped it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure Jace can just bat you off of him if you try to jump in.
Okay.
But I feel like it's the eventual wearing out that, I mean, because Jace doesn't go tier anymore, you can kind of just ride the storm. I mean, it doesn't
Well, they reduced his mana cost so hard. I mean, if you take 2/3, let me put it this way, they reduced sustain, especially early game for top lane. You can't do an early cutlass and get 15% lifesteal anymore. You can't do wriggles anymore. I mean, that hasn't existed for 5 years. You can't do any of these things. You can't start 12 health potions. All these options in the past that kind of existed, you'll say Doran's shield, but what does 20 health do when every time Jace jumps on me, I'm out 2/3 my health? I'm out 2/3 my health plus 20.
So you're saying that lane bullies should never get to the point where...
I'm saying lane bullies, okay, it's perfectly, like, look at it this way, okay? What's the best way I can describe this?
No, I understand what you're saying. Like, I think Renekton, what you said, was, like, the best example. That champion, complete dog shit scale. Like, if you go late game with Renekton, you fucking lost it. He's literally just a mouth breather. But early game, that champion's fucking unstoppable. But there's avenues to be. You want to see more champions like Renekton, right? That once they win lane, they don't just auto fucking win the game. Like, they have to be proactive, be doing stuff, or else they'll just fall off.
Well, even when you look at Renekton, even back in the day, he doesn't have like he has no spammable ability, right? So if he uses his trades incorrectly, if he uses the double E to maybe try to get into range to chase you in a bad way, he can sit there and then be like, okay, now my W is on a 13-second cooldown, my E is on an 18-second cooldown, my Q is on an 8-second cooldown, and the opponent's right in front of me, and I've maybe chipped away a third of their health. Like, I've killed so many Renekton's with, things like Irelia with Jax because they take a really bad trade, and it's like, no, I can just turn this on you. But with Jace ends the trade with you knocked back and slowed, and there's really no response to that.
I will say, is there any other champion other than Jace that you have a problem with counterpick? Because I'll say, Jace has 9 fucking abilities, dude. He might have a little too many in his kit. Like, he might not be the best example. Is there another champion where you feel like he's a problem for counterpicking?
Teemo, Heimerdinger. I mean, we gotta check go back here.
But do you not
Gangplank, Gnar?
Do you not?
How do you beat Gangplank unless you've counterpicked him?
I think you could play a tank against him and go to team fights. Do you not think that would be a good option?
But hasn't the option for that been he goes Klepto and just farms you like a pinata?
Yeah, but I mean, what else do you get? Like, I feel like there's no solution. Some champions are just gonna outscale you.
Yeah. I think you have to lose some matchups, right? Like I agree with Kitty. Jace is probably the big outlier because he's strong. He's been God, right? And it's like impossible to counterplay Jace because he has so many tools. But outside of Jace and old Pantheon, I can't think of that many things that are terrible. Maybe Teemo is the next best example.
And I don't even feel like Teemo's that big of a problem because he doesn't scale, so...
2.5 second blind and an 8-second cooldown does a pretty bad number.
I mean, for when we go to team fights, dude, like when we go to team fights against Jace, EQ, that's half my life. When I go to team fights versus Teemo, he's fucking useless. I just kill his ass. Like, I feel like Teemo's like, he's a counter pick, but he's not that bad. And I feel like champions like Heimerdinger, they should be counter pick. Like, these aren't good champions. They're just good for, hey, I have a good matchup for Heimer. Let's just fucking pick him here. You don't think that that's okay for him to be like that?
I don't think second picking should give you the option to just invalidate my laning phase. Does that make sense? Like the laning phase is important. A lot of people got into League over Dota because the laning phase was more interactive and fun. And the laning phase is basically it's been shortened and shortened and shortened and shortened. And as champions come in that, invalidate the laning phase, Riot doesn't really respond to it except to say, well, I'd scale them.
Yeah, I mean, I never played Dota or anything, so I don't know how big like counter picks are in Dota, if there are even such things as like counter picks or whatever. But I feel like if you don't get to counter, like if you get first pick and then someone else picks the role after you, they should be able to have a response. That's where like the beauty of like pick ban comes in. Like if you don't have that, then it's like, why the fuck even pick ban? Just fucking blind pick whatever the fuck you want, dude. Just go at it. Who gives a shit?
There's a difference between like counter picking and I see my opponent and I'm just like, oh, well, that's that then.
Well, I mean, that happens in every lane. Like, for mid lane, I can't play certain non-meta champions, because if I do, and I look at the enemy pick, all right, I lost. Like, 100%.
I think Wicked brought this point out earlier, that currently, when you're trying to safe pick, your options are so limited, and if you deviate even from just a tiny bit, if you deviate even slightly, the counter pick becomes so massive that you basically can't participate anymore. Like, if you get counterpicked by Gnar, here's a range poke, slow, kite, tank, mage, bully, bruiser, assassin. Okay,
I agree with that, but a lot of that is because of the top lane situation, right? Not because of counterpicks. Because, like, I think what he's trying to say is counterpicks need to be in the game. Or else there's just, like, I don't know how you can make champions unable to beat other champions in some way, shape, or form.
See, I think, but I think the point I'm not getting across is that, look, counter picks are fine, but if you think about it like this, like if this is counter picking, right? If you got that little bit of advantage on me, it's not like that. It's more like this is counter picking me right now. Like,
I know what you mean.
It's just such a fucking blowout that it's just, you know.
I know what you mean. So like, let's say I play bot lane. A lot of people ask me, Cutie, I want to play Quinn bot lane. I tell them, you're a fucking idiot. Don't play that shit. You're going to get absolutely fucking destroyed. Here's 3 champions. You play Tristana, you play fucking Kog'Maw, and you play Varus. Shut the fuck up and play them every single game. You want it so you don't have to pick the same goddamn champions every game. You want the luxury to be like, you know what? I feel like playing in top lane. I want to play Volibear and not fucking just auto lose the game for my entire team. You want something like that?
Basically. I mean, look at the, I mean, to try to give you an example here, Trundle was a relatively popular pick, what, a year ago-ish?
Yes.
And the Trundle players are gone. I mean, they don't play anymore. And the reason they don't play is they realize there are picks against Trundle that just like, it's over. You're done. You cannot win. You can't even team fight against them. You know, champions like Gnar. And that shouldn't, like, if you like to play Trundle, I'm not saying you can first pick Trundle and everything should always be amazing. What I'm saying is that, like, first picking Trundle shouldn't just be a death sentence. Like, you shouldn't see, oh, he's picked Trundle, you know, you lock in your champion and it basically just flashes victory. You know, you won. Congratulations.
But I feel, I want to say, I feel like that's not really a top lane exclusive problem. That's like a problem with, I feel like just the MOBA genre in general is just, there's going to be meta thing. Like, you have to play meta thing. Maybe there'll be something that's not meta, but it'll be a counter pick and you can...
But I guess one of the big points I've been making lately is that, like, this issue kind of, what's the right way to put it? Like, it's because of lack of care to the lane that the issue becoming this bad has been an issue. Like, I feel under Morello, look, if under Morello, there was a champion who just shut down so many champions top lane that they became dead picks. The question becomes, do you want Gnar to be viable, or do you want the 5 champions that Gnar shuts down to be viable? And I'd take the 5 champions over Gnar any day of the week. Even if it nerfs Gnar out of competitive or any viability, I'd rather have those 5 champions be playable. And Riot's response, especially over the last few years, is, well, Gnar needs to be viable, so deal with it.
I can kind of see where you're coming from with this. I mean, yeah, I think that if they got rid of, like, the extremes in top lane, like...
That's really... I'm not talking about counterpicking. I'm talking about the extreme counterpicking.
Yeah. I can maybe see that.
Yeah, I think that's true for a lot of lanes. Like, every lane has had that champion that's been long-staying, right? For, like, forever, right? Mid lane was, for the longest time, Orianna. I think this is one of the few times where Ori is, like, actually not that great, but she's been top tier for years, right? And I don't know. I think that's more of a problem with your lane because it's so long and you don't get much interaction between other things outside the fact that the jungler comes to your lane, so it feels like it's very swingy from the jungler perspective. But that's like a top lane issue, not like a counter.
Scar, he flipped his notebook. Let the man talk. Hashinshin,
okay.
This goes back to my point. Riot learns, then learns again that certain champions are just toxic. Like, when Gnar got nerfed down, they should have just said, okay, look, you know, buffing his numbers is just buffing his numbers. It doesn't, like, when you add 40 damage to his Q, it didn't suddenly fix a problem he had. All it did was add 40 damage to his Q, which is an absurd number, by the way. And he just went right back to doing the same thing he had done every other time he was viable. All of a sudden, you're useless against Gnar.
So basically, let's just get this topic out of the way. You'd like it, so those gatekeeping type of champions like Jace or some shit, you just want them fucking out of the way, dude, so you can allow more shit to come into the top lane.
If you look at it in a pure number of how many champions you can get viable, I honest to God think if you nerf Gnar and Jace and, you know, these type of champions, you will get more champions viable by nerfing them. Like, you will make it better by nerfing them.
But then let me ask you, I feel like I don't know how to fucking describe it. League's like a fucking ecosystem or some shit, dude. So there's always going to be an apex predator. Okay, go ahead, dude. I'll let you.
Okay, I've talked about this. This is learning and then learning it again and relearning it. We know, though, but this is my problem. There hasn't really been a top lane super predator. I mean, when's the last time? Gnar came out, what, season 3? 5 years ago?
I think so.
And we're still relearning that he shits on everyone if you make him viable? Like, this isn't like a new champion came out and we're all sitting here like, oh, we didn't know. It's like, oh, you made Kenny again. Kenny's shitting on old bruisers again. Wow, didn't see that one coming.
Okay, so my question with this, and we'll use your... So you said Trundle as an example of champions that can get hard counterpicked by stuff like Gnar to where you don't even get to play the game, right?
Yeah.
Trundle was a champion brought in specifically to counterpick specific tanks and all melee matchups. So he used to be so good, he straight up just shit on everyone up there. And let's just say that people started picking these Trundle counterpicks because he was so good. So we nerf out, the Jaces, the Teemos, the Kennons, the whatever you said. All of that shit goes out the window. So is there a problem where if Trundle is the apex predator, what happens after that? What if Trundle just shits on everyone that's male? So he gets nerfed too. So you just want everything to be nerfed to the point where there's a lot of diversity, diverse options. But
I have a response to this, actually.
Okay.
I've actually anticipated this, okay? League of Legends is not Magic the Gathering. You're not making a deck and sideboarding things in. You're not playing when you start a game, you don't know, he's likely brought the Trundle deck. You see the Trundle pick, it's right there. You could have picked them too. This isn't Magic the Gathering. We're not anticipating a meta and sideboarding in cards to counter it. There's nerf him. Just nerf him. If he's that broken, then nerf him. End of story.
But I'm just saying he's a problem only because you nerfed other things. So what Keely's trying to say is there always will be an apex. There will be a guy or a girl or a monster at the very top, and they're just going to slam the shit out of everyone. So, because of the genre itself making that unlikely, it makes it unlikely that there isn't going to be that problem. So, is your solution just to make it to the point where you can have the most amount of viable champions, and then anything that's, let's say, the biggest champion diversity you can get is 12 champions top lane. And to get there, you have to hard nerf 8 champions in a row. Is that okay? Is that good for you?
Is that more than are viable right now?
Maybe. Let's just say right now there's
Then yeah.
Okay. That's all I need to know.
All right.
I mean, because see, at the end of the day, you're either viable or you're not. The way I always put it with someone, and I don't know if this is going to show up on camera. So you have a spectrum, right? And on the left, you got the weakest champions in the game, and on the right, you got the strongest champions in the game, right? If you're at low ELO, the whole spectrum is used. When you start getting up the ELO, the spectrum shrinks until a mid-tier champion becomes shit tier once you go to high ELO. And once you get into competitive play, a champion slightly below top tier still is a weak champion.
Yeah, I mean,
you understand me? And so when you're at that highest of LP, and there's just a few champions who are holding the entire meta up, they're clogging the drain, they're traffic jamming everyone, then you just got to tear them out, is my opinion. That's how I would do it. Just tear them out of there.
All right, so we'll leave the topic at that. Riot, just start nerfing shit, dude. Just bring down the hammer.
Exactly. Just nerf. That's such a big point on my videos that I put up 2 months ago. It honestly feels like they don't just nerf
do
shit.
Something. Yeah, I know you're talking about. Riot can't just fucking do something, dude. You fucking gave me 10%
look at the Targons.
damage
The
on
Targons
Lucian.
response was perfect. They nerfed Targons, it was over. They nerfed Targons, done. It was like a 2-week response. And the only thing I wonder is why can't they do that for more shit, Why, so Gnar's getting nerfed on the PvE, and I love it. They're nerfing Frozen Mallet, they're nerfing his Q cooldown. That's great. I love that. Why did it take nearly 2 years of this, Gnar shitting on everyone for that to happen?
Why not? Let me ask you the flip side. Why not?
Because I think it's incredibly lazy. I think it is so inexcusably lazy. You're being paid to balance a game. That is literally your job. do your job.
But Shin, let me ask you: if they hired you at Riot Games, would you be fucking whipping these boys into shit? Would you be revitalizing League of Legends, making it great again?
I mean, I don't know what I don't know what's wrong with the company, but from an outsider perspective, it really looks like a work ethic issue. That if they really just sat in a room and hammered out with these problems, that they could get them fixed. Am I wrong? Like, some of these problems, like, I've talked to a lot of high-level players who truly believe that a lot of these issues in the game are easily fixable.
I mean, to be fair, now, I don't know about easily fixable. I feel like the scope for a game like League of Legends, no one can truly understand, like, all the fucking different ways that things play off of each other. So, I mean, let's say you nerf Jace, and then next day, fucking Lissandra top becomes fucking the new OP dude. No one can really predict that.
I actually have a response to this.
Okay, bring it out.
Prepared for this.
Okay. Think of it as a garbage, right? You have garbage. You have a pile of garbage, right? And at first, there's one layer of garbage, and a second layer hits, and a third layer hits, and a fourth layer hits, and a fifth layer hits. And by the time it gets to the eighth layer, by sheer laziness, by sheer lack of balancing the game, you say, well, we can't deal with the eighth layer of garbage because there's a seventh below it. Well, then deal with the seventh. And when you deal with that, there'll be a sixth. And you deal with the sixth. And below that, you have to get into the game because there's been so much negligence. I want to say over the last 4 years, there's so much negligence that they need to start working on it. You can't just keep putting it off because there's so many layers of garbage.
Let me ask you then. So you're saying that there's layers of garbage. What happened? They just get rid of all the layers of garbage and now there's nothing left. Are you okay with that? We just stop existing.
Describing like an ideal world, so I don't know how I wouldn't agree with it.
Like what? How? That's what I'm saying. How is it possible that like you can just get rid of all the garbage? There's always going to be some garbage.
Okay, but that's where the ban system plays in. If there was few enough garbage that the ban system could pick up the outliers, wouldn't that be enough? You got 6 bans.
I can't argue with this, Mascara. Can you?
I see the point you're trying to bring. I think it's just...
It's just good as hell. Let's go to the next topic.
Yeah.
Hashinshin, quick fire round now. This one's going straight at you. Your play style has been criticized by many to be one-dimensional. I'm putting this in quotation. This ain't my own words, dude. Mm-hmm. One-dimensional, non-adaptive. What would you say to people that make these statements?
Okay, so over the last just 5 years, I just wrote this down. This is just off the top of my head when I was writing this down. Okay, I got Challenger in Season 5, first with Sion, second with Olaf, not with Jax. In Season 6, I did it with Darius, not with Jax. Over the course since Season 3, really, I've played Hecarim, Olaf, Darius, Renekton, Sion, Skarner, Jax, Camille, Fiora, Irelia, Gragas. To call me... Oh, Aatrox. I love Aatrox. Watch my stream! Like, this complaint is so easily But let's go into the nitty-gritty. Let's say I only play Jax. Let's play devil's advocate here. I only play Jax, and that's fine. I only play Jax. Why is it an issue? If I'm willing to deal with my counter picks, like back in Season 2, Season 3, before Jax's Counter-Strike dodged Renekton's stun, when he could just Counter-Strike, or when he could stun my Counter-Strike and just, okay, I won those through skill. You know, I'd win my matchups. I'd win my counter picks. You know, that's fine. I'll deal with it. So I guess my question is, again, why is it an issue to enjoy playing one champion?
Well,
if I'm willing to deal with the consequences, why should playing one champion make me a bad guy?
Well, I'm going to say the people that said this, they don't like you playing one champion, Hashinshin. They want you to play more champions so you have more experiences. Do you think that you need to do that?
Well, I would say, I mean, I would say a lot of people get revered for playing one champion, whereas I get reviled for playing one champion. If you go to a Riven player stream, they're, oh, you're the best Riven ever. You go to my stream, it's, oh, you're a one-trick Jax. I hate you.
Do you think people villainize Hashinshin because maybe they're projecting themselves onto you. They always say Hashinshin one-dimensional, and then they look in the mirror, realize, oh, you got something written for this?
Hashinshin is top lane.
I can agree with that.
Okay.
My playstyle is top lane.
Okay.
I take every trade. You want to take every trade. I take every fight. You want to take every fight. I go for the dive. I go for the 1v2. You want to be doing those things, okay?
So you would say you're like the people's man for top lane.
I am top lane.
So you're saying...
When you think of all the things that you find fun, I actually do them.
So you're saying then the people that criticize you on Reddit, they don't criticize you because they think of you, they don't try to think of you as a bad person. They criticize you because they're unwilling to come face to face with the facts. Like, this is how top lane should be played. He's playing it and you're not. You think that's the problem?
Okay, let me put it this way. If the way I play top lane is wrong, then so many are wrong. I am top lane.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's enough of this topic.
Let's
go to the next one, then. So, let me ask you, why is it the support meta seems to shift between tank supports, poke supports, but rarely both?
Can I? Oh, this is backwards. It's gonna say I don't know.
That's a good answer right there. Scar,
I'm sorry. I don't play bot lane, so.
This is more for Kitty. So Kitty. Why is the support meta this wonky all the time?
I mean, I just feel like it just depends on what ADs are meta, like what kind of play styles meta. Like right now, people just want to go late game, so tank supports are great to go late game. You just fucking AFK. Like Tom Kench, wonderful champion, great design. Really, really promotes the go late game type of play style that people love to do. Like sometimes, dude, people don't want to go late game. Sometimes the meta is win early, win fast. Then you see like mage supports. You can get Ardent Sensor and scale also.
From an outsider perspective, it seems that the ebb and flow of which supports are better relies purely on which support item is broken.
Yeah, pretty much.
So last season, it was coin, which generated the most gold to get your Ardent Sensor, which was the most broken item. So how do you play a tank when Ardent Sensor exists?
Yeah.
Tank support, to clarify.
Yeah, I feel like support just really depends on like what's OP, and then just supports fill the hole. So I don't know.
Supports are so similar in the end result of what they're doing that very frequently, if one playstyle edges out another, like if shielding edges out another, the support that has a shield and probably some form of slow and a stun and maybe some form of knock-up or hard disengage. Think of who I'm describing right now.
Who are you
Those
describing?
Five. I don't know.
Alright. I can agree with the Shinshin. Yeah, like, if the play styles, you know what, make your AD invulnerable, Tom Kench, Braum, you know what, get a lot of CC, make them invulnerable, you go with those guys. If the play styles fucking throw a bunch of fucking shields on this guy and let him just fucking do whatever the fuck he wants, then those kinds of supports are meta. It's not really bot lane supports. Yeah, it's kind of counter picky, but it's mostly just pick what the fucking meta calls for. They usually don't call for both things, so yeah. Anyone got a problem with that answer?
Nah, dude, you're the de facto bot lane.
Alright, let's go to the...
You are bot lane this game.
I don't know if I am bot lane, but sure, that sounds good. Let's go with that. Let's go to the next topic, too. Currently, the least impactful role right now is probably top lane. I agree with that. If top lane does get buffed, which role should lose power for the top lane to gain? Support and jungle both need to lose fucking strength. I've said this shit so many goddamn times. Jungle is too fucking easy to play for how much it does, and it's too fucking brain dead. I don't give a shit. People are gonna, oh, my pathing, dude, my pathing. Shut the fuck up. You do full clear, and then you fucking gank. That's not pathing, you fuck. Like, support too, you just get free fucking gold. You don't have to do anything. You're just drilling on yourself and getting free gold. Make them work for gold. If they want gold, give me a fucking kill. If you can't get a fucking kill, you don't get anything from bot lane, dude. That's how I feel like it should be. Hashinshin, what do you feel like? Do you agree that top lane is the least impactful? And do you think another role should lose power for top to gain?
The only thing, well, let me start this with, I'm kind of glad that the argument wasn't, is top lane the least impactful role? It was, why is top lane the least impactful role? Because it really gets frustrating arguing this with people who say, no, you're wrong. No, top lane's amazing. And right now, the best way I would describe top lane is it very frequently feels like how you try to run in a dream, that you're struggling and you're not really getting anywhere and you can't figure out why you can't win. And it just feels like awful. Like you'll be like 8-3 as Camille and you'll be like, why are we losing team fights? I don't understand it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's top. I mean, I've had games where top lane just pops the fuck off and then it's like, up, I'm Kog'Maw, and I just fucking two-shot the Camille, so.
I think it's not like, I think top lane is like 5% impact and the other roles are like, 20 plus. It's that top lane is like a slightly less important than the other roles. That's just how I see it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think bot lane's like by far one of the most important roles right now. Maybe that's just my opinion, but yeah.
Oh wait, did you talk about what roles should lose power? I don't remember.
I've got it written down.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I interrupted you. Apologies.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna just open with this. Am I being selfish by wanting more power for top lane? I don't think so, because I feel if every class should fight for themselves, and then the end result should be a balance between that. If top laners are willing to say, let's strike a balance, and 80 carries are saying, give us everything, then it's going to end up 80 carry sided. So I do need to fight for my class and really my lane. So, but support is clearly overpowered. I don't really have anything written other than that. I think the general sentiment is support is overpowered. Just, okay. I wouldn't know how to nerf it. I just think that there's too much gold, their items are too efficient, and they just kind of rule the game very much. 80 carry itemization is too cheap. It's currently the cheapest of any build in the game. 3-item 80 carry is the lowest gold cost of any 3-item real build to any class. Just period. Jungle needs to farm more. Just get them out of my lane. Just like when you have a minute of nothing to farm, what are they gonna do? They're gonna go in my brush and be like, I literally have nothing I could be doing right now, so I'm just gonna sit on you and ruin your day. Mid lane, I feel arguably is fine. I'm not too happy with the true damage Landry Sork Shoes combo. But I think with their item update coming, there's a few combos that are going to push them over the top.
Alright. I mean, yeah, I feel like mid lane is probably the best role in terms of balance. Maybe it's just because how the lane is, that it's a short lane, but...
It's a short lane, and it's impossible. It's going to always be a top 2 of importance, because you have access to everywhere on the map, because it's the middle of the game. So, because you can move to anywhere in the map, you're always going to be strong. And because you're short, it's going to be hardest to push you out. So I think mid lane will never be worse than number 2 in terms of game impact. So yeah, I guess mid lane is kind of weird. I think I'm with Kitty on this. I would take power away from, because I think of bot lane as a whole, right? And bot lane power has been too high recently. I would want to take some of that away. Whether that's from the AD or the support, maybe a little bit from both, that would be ideal for me. And then I just want to make jungling harder. I want when I play against a jungler to be like, holy shit, this guy slammed the shit out of me. He played that so well. But when I play against other junglers, even good junglers, I'm just like, well, he did this path and it was 3 camps in the top lane, and then my top laner didn't expect it and died. And now he has such a big lead, I lose. The skirmish matchup, and it just kind of sucks.
Dude,
that feels so bad.
If someone dies God forbid, someone dies to Kha'Zix, he gets his dust blade early, it's just like, I'm fucking, just fucking forfeit, dude. This shit's fucking over already.
Yeah. Basically, I think there are a couple issues. So, one, I think that the laning phase needs to have more space generated for it. when top laners especially have been balanced and created around the laning phase, and now it's ending at 10 minutes in the match, that they kind of fall off. It becomes a 5-man death ball way too quickly, I feel. And there are a couple of suggestions I have for the next topic, but yeah, I mean, really, because AD carries aren't, like, they're good at 2v2ing, right? But, like, if you 5v5 early game as an AD carry, you know, it's like you're shooting peanuts at me. You need to generate gold to get items, right?
Yeah.
That especially means that, you know, if you slow down gold generation, that means more time can be spent at the Trinity power spike. You know, right now you're at Trinity, and then it's like 3 minutes later you're already at the next item, and you're. So how do I make the most out of that?
You'd like to see the game not accelerate as fast as it does now, because I agree.
It accelerates so quickly.
Yeah, I agree that. Let's say bot lane gets a lead. I know my entire, like, I'm sure everyone at this point knows. Bot lane, you take bot tower, you go top, you take top tower, you go middle, you take mid tower, you go and fucking ward up, you go and fucking bait. It's just the same shit every game. And there's like, it's very fucking hard to break that because the game's just moving so fast. It's like everyone's trying to catch up to the fucking AD who just got 700 free gold from taking the tower bottom. I agree. I could definitely see the game. If you could slow it down just a little bit, it might promote more, like, shit to happen other than, okay, the game's fucking snowballing, let's fucking go on damage control, try to fucking ward up, try to do some shit. I can agree with you on that one, Hashinshin.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some, I don't know, on the next thing, but I just feel the game, yeah, I mean, basically everything PewDiePie said. It feels like you can run out of options to do things so quickly, you know, as the opposing team is ramping up how quickly they kill turrets, ramping up how quickly they can kill players. You know, it feels like sometimes, especially, you know, in solo queue, I don't know about, it feels like you need to round up these children really quickly. Like, guys, okay, they're pushing top right now. They got their AD carry, their top laner, their support, their jungle on top right now. We need to react to this right now. And they're like, oh, I need like 3 more jungle camps. And then top lane turret's dead. And then they're mid lane, and you're like, okay, guys, we need to react to this right now. And Ziggs is like, well, I can go get an amplifying tome, so I'm gonna be right back. And the game just gets lost so quickly now that you don't have time to react to it.
Do you feel like the game's more snowbally than what it used to be? Because I remember this game used to be a fucking disgusting snowball fest. But what you're saying, you feel like it's even more snowbally now, or?
I would say it's both more snowbally and less snowbally in a weird twist.
I understand what you mean with that.
I actually understand what you mean too. It's less snowballing in the sense that, like,
you cut out.
Oh, I'm sorry. I say it's less snowballing in the sense where you're getting 7 kills in a row, but it's more snowballing in, like, the motion is just so common. Maybe it's because everyone got so good at the game and understanding the game, but like Healy said, right? Bot lane's broken. That's first tower gold. He's going top lane. He's going mid lane, and it's kind of, you know.
Yeah, I agree. It's snowbally, and it's pretty snowbally in the sense that it's like it just fucking grinds you out now, because before, like, the snowball would be like you get kills and then just shit starts happening. It's all fucking all over the place. But now it's just a fucking grind of, like, bot tower down, I'm going top lane. No one wants to defend top, I'm going mid lane. No one wants to defend mid, I'm gonna go fucking do some fucking shit to siege a tower. And it's just like, you just feel so fucking helpless because one person can't stop the siege.
Yeah. And
it's just like, we fucking lost, but now I'm just stuck grinding this shit out, and it's just like, what the fuck do I even do? I feel like Rift Herald really didn't help this. Like, people say, oh, Rift Herald, they want to fight over it and get it, but when you add a new objective onto the map, especially an objective that top lane can't get, like jungle can solo dragon, bot lane can take dragon, but top lane can't take Rift Herald. It takes way too long. And it didn't really make top lane more impactful because you need to put multiple people there to obtain it, And when you get Rift Herald, when you rotate to top and you take the Rift Herald and you drop it down mid, and there's the first mid turret, there's the second mid turret, there's the third mid turret, and it's like in one push, you just lost. I mean, maybe you could have recovered before that, but now it's over. All right. Well,
And
My question to this is: then is it okay if you want to slow down the pace and accelerate the laning phase? How about they make towers stronger? Like, would that help a lot? Because in my mind, that seems like a good solution to a lot of your problems. Let's say you die in lane. Usually, what happens if you die in lane twice on the second jungle gank, he can push the tower down.
yeah, I would 100%. I mean, honestly, I would give them more armor, like not like a huge chunk, but just enough to help mitigate some of that push, you know? Like 20 armor, and it'll kind of shut down your early game damage, I think.
I think that's fair. I don't have a problem. I think towers are way too easy right now to get.
The amount of times I'm playing Jax and my opponent backs and I kill the turret is comical, really. Like,
yeah, I think then the value of Rift Herald goes up, because if you have some chunk of tower for a third of its health, like, that's valuable. But right now, it's like, you get it when you can't push a tower because they have too much anti-siege, right? You do it when there's nothing else for you to do when you're rotating around. So I actually think that would be a really interesting way to do it. If they just increase the relative, like, elongate the laning phase by increasing tower health.
Yeah, because it also have an effect to make it so lane bullies aren't so, because lane bully, if you get that 700 gold, fucking game's over, dude. Like, you're never fucking coming back from that shit. So
the first turret gold was interesting at the time to solve a problem that wasn't immediately apparent that was going to create an issue, but it has definitely created an issue in the long run.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can agree with that. All right, though. That's enough of talking about this one. Let's go to the next topic. So, everyone has talked about how the game has become more team-oriented rather than highlighting individual skill. Can this even be done easily? Scar, what do you mean by that?
Oh, I didn't actually holy fuck. I meant, like, is there a solution that can be changed for it to be done easily? Sorry.
I think
apparently I actually just didn't write the question out completely.
I like that, Scar. So I'll start off by saying I think that the turret solution is a good option for it. Like, right now, again, laning phase, it's just push down the goddamn tower. Who can push down towers? Lane bullies. Pick a lane bully, push the fucking tower, get into motion, like the team-oriented part of it, macro play. I fucking hate macro play. I can't stand watching it. I can't fucking stand playing it. It's just stupid as fuck. You want to call me a fucking caveman or some shit? Go ahead, dude. But, like, I want to make the person I'm laning against my bitch. Like, I want to fucking... Alright, dude, you're fucking stuck here with me. You're not taking this tower. I'm not taking your tower. You're gonna fucking lane against me, and I'm just gonna fucking destroy you. I want that kind of gameplay again.
I think trying to push macro play, especially for the spectator, it's trying to make chess out of checkers. League of Legends doesn't have a lot of complexity in the macro play, especially observable. Like, you can't really, as a spectator, appreciate what's happening, if you know what I mean. Like, okay, they rotated top. You know, do you know, did they do a weird back? No, I mean, the casters are just like, well, they went top, so the turret's probably going to die.
You don't think there's any beauty in that, though? You don't think the spectator... Because I've wondered this. I feel like I've become jaded to watching League of Legends. Like, maybe for me, I don't appreciate the beauty of the macro play anymore. Do you think your average viewer can appreciate, like, oh my god, how did they know? Because to me, like, it's like, bot tower's gone, they're going to go top lane. But to your average viewer, it's like, they took bottom, what's going to happen? Are they going to go for another bottom tower, or are they going to go top? You don't think the average viewer appreciates that kind of stuff?
Well, I just have an example, and tell me if this is you. Like, back in the day, let's say season 2, 3, kind of into 4, like, if a game happened and I would watch the whole game. If I wasn't around for the game, I would, like, watch the VOD later. And then slowly I started to be like, okay, well, here's the first 15 minutes. Well, this team got an advantage. Good enough. And you just did something else. And eventually it was like, if you didn't watch it, you just kind of looked the aftermath, and it was just like, okay, well, they won. It was a 3-5 game. They got 3 kills. They got 5 in 40 minutes. Okay. And it's just like, I feel like I don't know. What made League of Legends interesting back in the day isn't what makes it interesting now. Like, no 2v2 or 3v3, like super skirmishes, all game long. Yeah, I remember when Moscow 5 would always do these wacky, 3v3 skirmishes, and that was exciting, Is a Lee Sin gonna come back in? What's he gonna do? And it's so binary and flowcharty now.
Yeah, I'm actually with both of you here.
I will say that's probably the best description I could give. My biggest problem with how League kind of is right now is very fucking flowcharty. Like, I can tell you this shit's gonna fucking happen. Like, it's so fucking, this happened, now this, now this, now this. I fucking hate that shit. What were you gonna say, Scott?
Yeah, I think, talking about, macro, the common person likes watching it. I liked watching macro beforehand. Back when they had 1v2s, there were multiple macro decisions. Okay, what back timing are they going to take? Are they going to try to defend this on this timing or this timing? What happens if they go here, here, here? I agree with you on all these situations that it's so flowcharted, because while you can do kind of off the wall movement right now, it's just not efficient. Right now, the most efficient path, everyone already knows how to do. What is this? What happens because of this? Sure, the average player becomes smarter at macro. They understand the game easier, and it's easier to teach and explain, but it's just boring. It's so boring. Especially because the game is oriented toward, this more teamwork-oriented style. The fact that I can tell, okay, you used to have a lot more options. So as a mid laner, this is a good example. I used to be able to...
You could
Yeah, I could go top, but now if I go top and we trade bot for top lane, I feel like I lost. I'm just like, shit. My top lane isn't as important as the 2 people bot lane. If I go bot lane, this is going to sound stupid. I have the potential to kill 2 people instead of just 1, as well as getting the more important lane ahead. And so I've had to go top lane less. And so sure, I can still do it, but I don't have as many strategic options as I did before, because it's just not as efficient as it was in the past. So, yeah, it does feel super flowcharty. That's probably the thing I hate the most about League right now.
I actually there's something that's really frustrated me, and I really couldn't think about it until I thought about it the other day. It finally occurred to me. One of the things I really hate is the 5v5 death ball meta. I really dislike it. When you watch it, it's 2 teams, everyone runs at each other, bunch of damage happens, somebody wins. And it feels like when you're skirmishing, like when it's Nidalee against Lee, and maybe you throw in a Jax and Camille, and they're running around and shit's go. That feels so much more interesting to me than tank CCs, AD carry attacks, CC target. Shield probably supports somewhat.
I mean, yeah, I liked it better more when there was a variety of comps, when there was poke comps. And it's oh my god, the flank comes at Hecarim with a fucking engage slicing through the team. What the fuck? That kind of shit was holy fuck. When I see, oh my god, Nasus is just fucking going crazy on the split push, dude. They need to go fast or they're gonna fucking lose to Nasus split push. That shit's fucking cool. I agree with you now. It's just oh my god, both of these guys are grouped up and now eventually they're gonna find each other and team fight, but probably not until an objective's up, and here's one, so here's a fight, and...
It's less rewarding to do more aggressive things now. That's the worst thing about the game. It's
stopwatch needs to be removed.
I don't think stopwatch needs to be removed.
I don't agree with that. I just think the time should be pushed back. If I'm playing an assassin, level 6 is my spike. That's when I'm going to solo kill my mid lane opponent. You know when you hit level 6 on solo lanes without getting kills? 537, 540. So you have a 1 wave window to all in someone before the stopwatch turns on. 1 wave. That's so annoying for me. I have to go through barrier first, then stopwatch, then barrier, and they're on their 1.5 item now. So it's just, I think it should be pushed back. 8 minutes, 10 minutes, I'm down. But I think stopwatch does add complexity to the game. I don't mind it. But it activates way too soon, in my opinion.
Hashinshin, what else you got?
Okay, so here are some suggestions I had that kind of push the game into this, I guess, what's even the road, but it makes it impossible to be alone. It makes it impossible to 2v2. There's some things that do that. Number 1, I feel boots have gotten too cheap. at 1,100 or even 900 gold for boots versus the old 1,250, 1,200. It's just a little bit of gold, but every little bit of gold matters. You know, if you make something 100 gold more expensive, is that 20 seconds more of laning phase you're adding? And really, that's a point. You know, it's too effective to get boot upgrades too early right now, which shortens the map, which makes it too scary to be alone, too dangerous. The other thing is that there are a few early game items, one item power spikes that make it, again, impossible to be trying to do your own thing, that you have to 5v5 clump up to stop. That's everyone's favorite, Duskblade. You get Duskblade, you can't be alone, Kha'Zix will kill you. I mean, so you 5v5. Can I say something?
Go ahead, dude.
Go ahead, dude.
Oh, you just kind of inhaled like you were
Now, Sky, you know how it goes.
Sorry. My mic is a little bit too close now. My bad.
Okay, so ambient gold I actually think should go down. Not only, I think ambient gold going down would help reduce the 5v5 death ball, because you're sitting in a death ball right now, you still get generally, like with the CS you can pick up and the ambient gold, you get generally enough to go on. You know, you never feel like, I have to go farm those minions because he's farming those minions and he's pulling so far ahead of me. It's like, oh, he's got, 100, 200 gold on me? Great. Yeah, ambient gold would also slow down the progression of the game. So, like, right now you hit one item at an amazing, 9 to 11 minutes people are hitting one item right now. Which is, when I think of the old 20 minutes for an Infinity Edge threshold, and now people are pulling out items on 9 minutes. It's just, what? The game got wacky at some point. It is a really, I think this point is actually probably the biggest one. Supports being so good at keeping people alive shuts down and basically invalidates 1v2ing. Does anyone disagree with that?
I mean, I feel like 1v2ing is invalidated because towers are fucking... Yeah, you're just going to lose your tower if you 1v2. I mean, I think that supports are too good at keeping people alive. Definitely. But that's like their job. I feel like you shouldn't be able to 1v2 an AD and a support. Do you not agree with that?
Well, I do 1v2 them every so often. I just think the threshold at which I can... I feel like you need to have items before you can 1v2 them. I feel like you shouldn't just be able to just 1v2. Like, you can 1v2 them. You have a Trinity Force. I have, my Infinity Edge or something. You can maybe 1v2 me. You can maybe outplay it. But you don't agree with that? No, I do agree. I mean, if I'm on a Trinity power spike, I can come down bot lane and it's... being lenient, I think 3 or 4 Trinity procs and I can kill you, even with the support shielding you.
Yeah, but that's how I'm saying, if I have 2 items now, I feel like I should be able to beat you with an AD and a support. Do you not think that's fair?
I totally agree. Like 1v2ing right now is so hard to do. Supports get so much gold, they get so much power, and it just... Supports are always the people 1v2ing because they're always the people with the Moby boots, running around looking for fights. And it just, I don't know, it kind of sucks that, you go for a 1v1. They've got Hourglass, which will hurt you anyway. But let's say you blew it. Let's say, everything. So you go for the 1v1, you get the upper hand, they flash away, you flash after them. But it's been 10 seconds and the support is there with, Mobies, and all of a sudden they drop the 500 shield. Airy makes it a 580 shield. Then they, use their point and click stun or whatever on you, and you're like, oh, okay. Just, how many times you had that feeling where you're just you look at the kill and you see it going away, and you're just like,
but
yeah, all
to
right.
be fair, I feel like that's not really a support's problem. That's if you don't ward up, if you take a bad fight, that's not really the support's fault.
I feel like back in the day, though, you just punch through the shield. You just murder the dude anyway.
I don't remember that.
Even back in the day, I don't know about that.
I would do it.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe back when the support had a Sightstone and like boots
Yeah.
at like 11, 15 minutes, yeah, you can then like one shot the support and then go and one shot the AD.
Yeah, I agree with Scott. Maybe when
That's actually shit. Okay, I actually totally just got reminded of this. Okay, so I'm actually going back.
I'll go back
because I meant to write this down. I meant to write for.
It's in the notes.
No, I didn't have it wrote down, but I need to remember the question. Okay, why do support tanks and supports, I guess, shielder guys, why do they ebb and flow so much? One of the points I had this epiphany last night, and that's why I didn't write this down, okay? One of the reasons I think, like, shielding supports can get so overpowered so frequently, and shielding tanks can also get so overpowered so frequently, like, when you add 200 health to a support item, right? You're saying, like, the support's going to be under-leveled. They need that 200 health to not get one shot, right?
Right.
But when a tank gets that, that's a very relevant 200 health to a tank. You know, on a shielding support, they're very frequently in the back. That 200 health is merely preventing them from being one-shot. But when Braum and such, they start getting, 200 health, and they start getting 30 armor, 60 magic resist from Locket. When they start tanking up off these items, it can, and you will see this, it gets to the point where, like, a tank support is actually just a tank. They're not a tank support. They're actually just as unkillable as a tank. And that can, when support items are overwhelming like that, it can very frequently mean that, like, a tank support is adding just another very real player on your team who's chasing you around, with the 45 cooldown reduction stunning you.
I mean,
does that mean support players should be half a player?
Yeah, like, you're saying it's adding a real player. What would be the alternative?
Okay, supports, the contribution a support does to a game doesn't all have to be just fighting other players. Their contribution in warding, dewarding, clearing the lane, warding for top lane so top lane can split push, these are things that historically...
Okay, sorry,
I'm just saying.
I agree with you.
You want them to be slaves.
Sorry, keep going.
I'm just saying, from a historical perspective, like, not everyone has to be, like you look at AD carries, right? When AD carries are bad, people say, well, you still bring an AD carry to kill a turret. Even if they're worse off in fighting, even if the tank or the bruiser excels at, the actual fighting itself, the AD carry can do a job that isn't directly fighting. And the support, even if they're not as good as a normal champion, a top laner, mid laner, and AD carry, in a fight, their job, often isn't to do that, maybe you could have avoided the bad fight with a better support.
I mean, I feel like I agree with you that tank supports get very tanky. What would the alternative to a tank support being tanky be? Do you think a tank support should just die instantly, but they're like...
The problem I have with tank supports is they're basically free to follow you around stunning you on cooldown, and there's not much you can do about it because you can't turn and kill them. They're too tanky. And even if you did, great, you killed the support, big whoop. And it often means that, like, when you're fighting a Leona or something, and they're just, like, chasing you around, like, shield bash, shield bash, shield bash, like, it's very fucking irritating, and there's nothing you can do about it. They're just gonna keep locking you out of playing the game.
But I feel like that's what they do. I mean, so this is from an 80s perspective now. When I play against Maokai, and he's just doing my entire fucking health bar with, like, full tank items, it's like, you know what? Let me auto attack. Oh, it did 50 damage. He has 3,000 health and he heals for 400 health on an auto attack. I sometimes feel like that's a little unfair too. Do you not? That's just how tanks are, though, right?
At some point in League of Legends history, and it would be hard to pinpoint when, Riot decided to replace bruisers with tanks. And everything they said that was bad about bruisers, they gave to tanks. When they said bruisers have too much base damage, they did that to tanks. When they said bruisers have too much point-and-click CC and they're too easy, they gave that to tanks. When they said bruisers are too low skill cap, they gave that to tanks. And I don't know when, but at some point, it's just like everything negative that was a stereotype about bruisers has become true about tanks.
I can understand that.
But is the meta tanks right now?
I don't think so.
Isn't Sejuani the strongest jungler?
Oh, you mean not for the top lane position? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I will say about tank supports, I do think they get too tanky too early. Like the item, this just goes back to supports get way too much fucking gold. Like they get way too much gold. Nerf the fucking gold on them. I agree with that. But
well, I mean, to give you an example, like how irritating is it that I'm auto attacked to a single time, you can't fight the AD carry anymore because you'll get stun bursted, you know?
I mean, if Brahm's in range to auto attack me, then it's like, well, is it really Brahm's fault or, you know?
Well, imagine now you're trying to play a melee champion and they have Braum.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying a lot of the melee champion, like if you're playing a bruiser and you're trying to rush headlong into a fight and you just come face to face with Braum, it's like, you have a do I want to keep running through Braum? Or do I want to peel back and maybe split push, open up like a flank or something? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Braum is... I don't hate Braum because he can stun me. I hate him because he's...
Well, it's not that he can stun you. It's the fact that you have to somehow avoid ever being auto-attacked by him anytime, ever. Like, that's his stun combo. He's auto-attacking you one time, ever. Like, it's so easy to get hit by. It's so easy to do... that it can make your job of getting past Braum feel almost impossible.
I mean, isn't that Brahm's... Like, that's his character.
Isn't that his job?
Yeah, that's his, like, stand behind
Well, okay,
me.
imagine you got... I don't know how to put it. It's like, what's a hard tank? Scion? Like you can play around Scion's Q and stuff, you know? But how do you play around don't get auto-attacked ever?
I mean, if we... Like, how does Kitty play around Maokai? Like, with Maokai.
Well, I'm not saying Maokai's better. Like, I'm not defending tanks here. I'm just saying.
Well,
you know,
yeah, I think we're all on the same page. Like, it's just that tank supports in general get strong too soon because if that way, it shouldn't be so that they get this tanky so quickly that it could be an option to kill the tank support. Whereas right now, it feels like it's not.
Yeah, like I'm not arguing that Braum is particularly easier. I'm just using Braum as an example of a tank who it just feels like there's no real way to play around them other than just be tanky enough plus damaging enough to run through him and kill the AD carry.
So then,
you know, like
let's go back to the topic. So team oriented versus individual skill. How if you had a way to make this game about individual skill, what would you do? Like, do you have a?
Well, I think the escalation needs to be toned down considerably. I mean, obviously the game is more, individually skilled in the early game. I think everyone would agree with that. And I think that as you get more items and you do more damage and turrets fall faster and people die quicker and a simple, touch is always a touch of death. If Kaw goes from, he's going to gank me so I'll lose half my health to he's going to gank me so I'll lose all my health, that's when, you can't have individual, you have to run into the team fight situation. You know what I mean?
Okay, so then your answer to this, slow down the fucking game. Slow down the pace that the game's played at. Scar, do you agree with that? Amen.
Dude, let's make the towers a little bit stronger. We'll see what happens.
I can agree with that, too. I definitely think that things should slow down.
Oh, yeah, and make supports less of a person. Like, I want them to be half the person they are right
See,
now.
that's the thing. I agree with that, but then we'll go back to no one wants to play support. Like, people love playing support now because it's just stupid as fuck. Like, you have people that want to play Janna because she'll do your entire health bar with a W, and it's like, is that okay? I'm not the Riot design team, so it's not my place to say whether it is or isn't, but I don't agree with that.
Is a quick aside, somebody in your chat said it was hypocritical to say to slow down the game but remove Hourglass. The assumption being Hourglass slows down the game, but Hourglass just reduces the ability of individual play to get ahead and strengthens sitting in a 5-man. Because, like, when you go for a gank, they Hourglass. When you go for a 1v1, they Hourglass.
But if it's just a 1v1, then they're just going to die right after the Hourglass.
Well, not if they're under turret. Not if they Hourglass damage.
But do you not think that... So, I guess, before we leave this topic, just one thing. Do you not think that there should be... If we were to slow down the game, make towers harder to take... The reason why that they did this before, in case people are new to the game or whatever, I'll go back to the topic. They made it so you couldn't, or towers were hard as fuck to kill before, So it'd just be the most miserable fucking time people would have because they just get shit on and they'd keep getting shit on and no one could fucking help them because it's like, well, we can't take our tower to rotate, dude. We're still here trying to fucking beat our tower down. So you'd have people that were down like fucking 4 levels before they can rotate out. It's an auto loss for them. Like they can't do anything. They can't farm and they can't go and try to pressure another tower. What do you think? What do you think of that?
I'm going to try to explain something that kind of explains my feelings on this. If you play World of Warcraft, right, you hated getting your party members into a dungeon. They were never there. The Warlock always had to warp them in. You had to spam looking for group nonstop. And I'm going somewhere with this. It was very frustrating and annoying. But when they removed it, the game became worse. Is it frustrating and annoying that turrets were strong, that nobody could help you, that you got fucked on? Yeah, that was annoying, but at the same time, it was part of what made the game, you know? And by removing that, you removed a large element of the game.
All right, I can see it. I mean, there's a trade-off. I personally don't know what's the better. Scour, you can go.
I like the idea. I think that just makes the macro decisions more appealing because if towers can't fall that quickly, do you know how like Twitch bot lane right now roams a lot mid lane because I hate that rat guy, but he wants to make my life hell. It'd be like if more bot laners and more top laners be comfortable roaming outside their lane, even mid laners, right? Mid lane only roams if they push out. That's usually the case. Like I teach people push the lane and then roam. Because they can't afford to miss not just the CS, but the half turret health that happens if I leave the tower. But if the case is that the tower is stronger, I can make risky plays like sacrificing waves to help out someone who's getting like just completely shit on.
I totally. I mean, I remember. I don't remember what season this was. Let's say before season 5, that Fnatic very frequently they'd have Kassadin, right? They'd get Kassadin to level 6, and he'd move on a mid lane. He could have 2-3 waves hit the turret, but he'd just be positioning and jockeying for a gank during that time. And you can't really do that now, can you? I mean, 2-3 waves hit the turret.
2-3 waves, it's gone. Yeah, if the other person's there.
Yeah, that shit doesn't happen anymore. So I can agree. I agree with that. Maybe that is the solution. Let's go. We're gonna go now.
Here we go.
It's Discord question and answer. I know this is what Hashinshin has been waiting for. You don't got notes prepared for this one, Hashinshin. Sorry, buddy.
I probably do.
Okay, he probably does. So
Nice.
let's go get it underway then. Let's pick some good questions right here. Let's start off. You know what? Sayuka wants to know, at Hashinshin, can you elaborate on why you think AD is the most broken role? Do you think AD is the most broken role?
I think a lot of people, me included, have a problem separating the power of a support from the power of an AD. If supports are overpowered, it'll often convince you that an AD carry is overpowered, yeah?
Yes.
And I think what we're at right now is AD carries are a little bit overpowered, but supports are very overpowered. And because of that, it's kind of like a lot of people see the support never dying. The support, you know, if an AD carries off alone, they die. Like seriously, they just die right now. But what keeps them alive is the support, which then allows them to go with these 0 health, you know, wacky 80% crit builds all the time.
Wacky.
I think 80% crit is wacky.
I agree.
I don't know about wacky, but
hear me out on this one. If you have 80% crit is no longer crit. The 20% crit is now the crit. You're now critting less damage. So 4 out of 5 times you're doing the normal attack. 1 out of 5 times you're hitting a dud.
What's wrong with that though? What's wacky about that?
Does it feel good like when you stack up the rapid fire cannon and you go in for the shot and you're expecting this like 600 damage nuke and it goes like
Hey, I mean, it doesn't feel good, but that's just how the dice roll, baby. Like, I don't got a problem with that. You think that that's a problem?
I mean, I'm just saying it's wacky.
All right, fair enough. Let's go. Sex Panther wants to know, at Hashinshin, top Korean top laner Kane, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Khan states, the problem isn't Jace, it's your fingers. Go and practice. Do you agree?
I think really good top laners know what's overpowered, and they might. Like, you have to remember, top lane again is a role of one tricks. Okay, top lane is more one trick than any other role, and I think top laners are more resistant to trying to play meta than any other role. And if Khan sees Jace and he says Jace is still overpowered, right? And other people aren't playing him, he might know Jace is still overpowered, but might not want to play Jace.
So, are you saying that Jace isn't the problem then? It's your fingers?
Well, I think Jace is still overpowered. I mean, basically the question is, some people think Jace is bad and Khan's saying Jace is still good?
I think he's saying that Jace is balanced and you just can't play against them. I don't know where the quote's from. I'm assuming that's what the quote means.
Okay, what do you think it means, Scar?
I think he's trying to say that Jace is balanced and it's on the player to play around him better.
Okay, I wouldn't know how to respond to that because I disagree with it completely.
So
I think if anything, I mean, I would have to look up the quote.
All right.
I really would.
Fair enough then. Let's go to the next one. So why, this guy wants to know, Kaneki, why, if top lane is so bad, TF Blade's gotten rank 1 so many times on Akali?
Akali? Okay, I actually have multiple answers to this one.
Well, let's just go. Let's go with the best answer. Let's go. Just choose your best answer.
Top lane is broken as fuck. There are a few top laners that are so much unbelievably better than the other one. Plus, top lane is the most auto-filled lane right now that leads into a situation where a good top laner very frequently finds himself matched up against auto-filled opponents using a weak champion while he's using one of the few broken champions, giving him a very high opportunity to snowball.
Okay, fair enough. We'll end it now. This will be the last question because we've been going a long time. Sorry to keep you here so long, Hashinshin. We'll go with one last question. Robin wants to know, this is going to be at all of us. Now, based off of all of our discussions, what do you guys think? League is a dying game, and do you see League becoming irrelevant in the near future, as in 4 to 5 years, to Overwatch League?
Can we just ignore the last two words?
Okay, sure. We can ignore the last one. I will say, I'll start off. I want League to go back to less team-oriented shit. I hate team-oriented play. I used to love LC. I can't watch that shit anymore. I haven't watched it for a fucking while. Because let me tell you, as hype as it is, 30 minutes into the game, 0-0-0-1, I'm getting old, dude. My attention span, it's not what it used to be. It must be some shit like that. But I watch that shit. Alicia will vouch for me. I actually fall asleep during it. Like, I fall asleep watching the LCS. I can't watch it anymore. I think that the game needs to go back to individual play style. What are you going to say, Ash?
Okay, so I actually have a long answer to this one.
Go ahead.
There are a few concepts people don't understand that need to be explained a bit more. So, let's say 5 years ago, the biggest and the only game you could truly watch on Twitch was League. Like, it had all the viewers. Now, the viewer count might be going up, but you have to remember that their piece of the pie is going down. Okay? There are more and more people into watching games. There are more and more people into watching esports. There are more and more people into video gaming itself. So even if the league numbers can go up, their total take of the player base is going down. Do you understand that? Does that make sense to you?
I mean, it makes sense, but wouldn't it make sense, too, that someone that watches Overwatch, someone that watches Counter-Strike...
Nobody watches Overwatch.
All right. Someone that watches Counter-Strike might not want to watch League because, I mean, they're kind of different games, to be fair.
I actually have a long answer to that one.
Give me the long answer, dude. This is the final one.
So, let's say after season 3, under Morello's, and I'll always use Morello as my good guy example, he made sure that a lot of concepts made sense to the viewer, and you didn't have to know that much about the game to understand it, right? With the addition of things like blast plants, with the addition of things like vision plants, with the addition of things like scuttler crab, random dragons, stuff like that, it takes more and more and more knowledge to understand what's happening in the game.
Okay, wait. I gotta cut you off here, dude. So you're telling me blast plant is a very, like, you need to be very well versed in the League of Legends world to understand the plant that explodes?
But understand this. If you're let's say you're watching a game you don't understand, Overwatch, right? If McCree suddenly launched off, you'd be like, okay, wait, what happened? Why did he suddenly just launch off? And somebody would have to explain to you, oh, well, there's a plant on the ground that respawns every X number of minutes, and if you hit it while you're next to it, it knocks you away. That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's not immediately apparent to a viewer what just happened.
I will say, I feel like it's pretty apparent when the explosion happens that, hey, that was a blast. Maybe it blasted them away, but...
A plant blew up, and why can't he continue to use the plant? Does it respawn? Like, what? Like, there's a lot of questions that are suddenly raised for the viewer.
All right.
Versus if it didn't exist, there would be no questions.
I'll give you that one, but continue on with what you're saying about Morella.
So a lot of concepts, I don't even remember the question anymore.
Okay.
But a lot of concepts and things have been added. Random dragons, how did they do Baron so quickly? Mountain dragon. How is he healing? Ocean dragon. Why did he do so much damage? Triple infernal dragon. Like, you have to look at it this way. The more the casters have to take out of their time to explain something, the less immediately apparent it's going to be for a viewer. And I'm building that into, that's why I think Counter-Strike can get 400,000 views. Why did that guy die? Oh, because he was shot in the head with his gun. In League of Legends, why did he die? Well, because Zed has an ult which does this and that, and he blew up, and there was a dusk blade, and somewhere Ka was stealth.
I feel like there's a market for a game like Counter-Strike, and there's a market for a game like League of Legends. Because you were talking about market share, like, I don't think League of Legends, they don't share the same. They share some people with Counter-Strike. They don't share like, someone that plays Counter-Strike maybe might not like might not like RPG style, whatever the fuck you'd call League.
There's always a fuck the winner mentality where League is number one, so people hate League, if you get me. Yeah. And you can see this on Reddit. Like, League gets mentioned outside of the League subreddit. Everyone's like, oh. And it's difficult to strike a balance. Like, if you only give universal praise to League, they won't fix anything bad. The game will never improve, right? It'll never get better. It'll be stagnant. But if you criticize the game, you run the risk of making an outsider look like it's a bad game.
So you're saying
many games have been. Go on.
You're saying that on the road that League's on, the game will be dead. But you're the X factor. You're the thing Morella's gonna come back. He left, right? He's long gone?
He's working on Riot's game 2.
Oh, okay. So Morella's gonna come back to game 1, and he's gonna fucking revitalize League of Legends. That's what you're thinking.
I think people like me are a necessity. Because if the front page of Reddit is only 25 or however many are on the front page of people saying Riot is the best company ever, they have the best game ever, glaring problems like, oh, hey, Jax's Counter-Strike doesn't work, those will be swept under the rug, and that's not one issue. Like Draven's Axes, Tyler was talking about that the other day. Draven's Axes have some bug that I don't know, but I'm sure he knows. And people like me are a necessity because there has to be negativity. If it's only positivity, you can't improve.
But what do you think about constructive criticism?
Constructive criticism.
It just has to be like you slap them in the face with your idea.
Okay, at a certain point, you can be constructive with someone to a point, and I feel like at that point, Riot has left it. Like, we've been constructive with Riot for a good long time with top lane, and for our efforts, we've been rewarded with a half-assed December patch that half of it was cut off, then never revisited, and also we're going to get a Bruiser Keystone in like 4 months. You know, at what point is it not okay? Like, at what point is it okay? Let me ask that one, to finally say, you know what, Riot, go fuck yourself. This is not acceptable.
I agree with Hashinshin. There does need to be, like, people hate on Hashinshin. Autism. That's why they hate on him. I agree. There needs to be someone like Hashinshin. Like Hashinshin, he's a voice. I don't think he's the voice of top lane, but he is one of the many voices of top lane. I think that you definitely have good points that deserve to be listened to. I don't think all the points... Oh, you got something?
Yeah. So, I just want to reiterate, and I wrote this down, by the way. From like season 5, 6, 7, I really didn't like. The general discussion was shut down by Riot, right? Like their forums were shut down. I didn't really do much on Reddit. I didn't do any videos. Like I was content to just kind of play the game, and I really felt there came a time when nobody was saying anything. Like top lane associate, like people are quitting all the time. Dyrus is playing jungle and stuff like that, and it's like, when is someone gonna come out and be like, "Yo, Riot, pay the fuck attention to top lane"? Like, I would be, if they fix top lane, I'd stop. I swear, I guarantee this. I promise. I will stop making videos and I will disappear from Reddit if you fix top lane. That is a promise. I am perfectly content to sit on my stream, you know, make just enough money for my frugal lifestyle, you know, play some League, you know, get enough money to upgrade my computer, you know, just, that's fine with me. Look, I'll do it.
All right. Yeah, I agree. I think Hashinshin has a lot of things that are worth listening to. People should definitely listen to it more, try to analyze it more. You might not agree with it, but just understanding his point of view for top lane. Because, I mean, I agree top lane's a shit role. I don't think it's to the degree that you think it is, but I agree it's a shit role. But let me back to the question, because this is the last question. So is League dead in 4 to 5 years?
I think, I mean, worst case, like the worst case scenario, League would just continue World of Warcraft style. Like it would have a bit, like maybe their numbers go down to what they're used to, but I think there's a snowball that a popular game can reach that they can never truly die. I mean, RuneScape players were complaining about RuneScape was a useless, you know, worst game ever. They were saying that for 5 years till they got original RuneScape. So, you know, you get enough you get enough players and you're not going to die, I guess. Like the amount of gamers is just going up, and it can basically sustain anything.
All right, Sky, what do you think?
I actually agree with Hashinshin here. I think that there's no way that the game dies. In 4 to 5 years, even if it does worst case scenario, it'll still live. But yeah, it is on Riot in the next couple of years. I think actually competitive side of things, they've done a really good job of being like production wise, and I would say even like refining like I would say competitive stuff. They've done a pretty good job. I mean, okay job balance wise. But for like the player who does want to go for the kill and wants to be an individual, because like MOBAs should give you a sense of teamwork, but should also reflect yourself. I think if they should be looking toward that. I think if they can hit that, League will be here for a while. Like League is here to stay.
I just want to emphasize something here that I think a lot of people don't understand. My issue is not with the sound design. The Gangplank music was amazing. The songs they do are fantastic. The aesthetic design, the skinners, they're all great. The new Jag skin is amazing. The gold and purple just is fantastic. You know, the people that do the sprites, the visual effects, those people are doing a fantastic job. My only issue is with the live design team, okay? Look, everyone else is doing great. The CGI people, they're doing great. The competitive people, they're doing great. The networking people, they've managed to fix almost every issue I've had, okay? Only live design. Those are the only people I have an issue with.
I got an issue with them too, so I can agree with that. So then we can all agree, if League of Legends became a more individual type of game, we think that the game would be a lot better.
The true irony is that the League of Legends team is a team, and their live design team is feeding.
That is
so everyone looks worse for it.
That is the beauty of it, Hashinshin. Very, very aptly put, my friend. Almost poetic, I would call it. And to that, we shall end Beyond the Rift episode number 78 with Hashinshin. Hashinshin, dude, if the people want more of you, where can they get more of you at?
I guess on my stream. I mean, again, I'm here to represent top lane, so I don't want to dilute that by making it look.
No, just like, I'll do it. You can find Hashinshin, twitch.tv/Hashinshin, twitter.com/Hashinshin. That's where you can find the man, otherwise dubbed as the top lane.
Scar, if the people want more of you, where can they get you?
I'm on Twitch and Twitter under Scar. I just want to actually, you know, even if I don't agree with a lot of what he said or some of what he said, I love that you were prepared for it. You know, you had your notes, you were ready. You did a great job preparing. Yeah, this episode went long, but that's because we had a lot of content. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I want to thank Hashinshin for being here. Dude, I from the beginning, I love Hashinshin. I love any man that cares about what they do. I don't agree with what Hashinshin says, but he obviously cares about League of Legends. I like that, dude. I fucking like that. I care about League. I don't care enough to do that kind of shit that he put out videos about the state of AD and all that bullshit, dude. So I fucking respect him for that. So shout outs to him for coming on. Shout outs to you guys for being here to watch. That's going to conclude Beyond the Rift today. We'll see you guys next week. Hope you have a good one, fellas. Peace.
Bye.